Hi, I'm Mrs. Lindsay Sigman. Welcome to Back to School Night. It is a pleasure to be teaching your students this semester. So far in the opening days of meeting them, it's been going really well, and it's been a pleasure listening to their ideas and just seeing them adapt to what has been a very challenging and crazy year so far. So I'm looking forward to seeing them in the building more often, but as we continue to navigate the challenges of everything that this year has kind of brought into our world of education, I'd like to start by just saying, please don't hesitate if you have any questions, concerns at any time to contact me. You can always email me, and you're also welcome to call the school, and I'd be happy to call you back during one of my opening times. The same thing goes for your children. If you notice at home that they're expressing concerns of things, please encourage them to let me know what they need. I think if there's one thing we've learned throughout this year, it's that, everything is constantly changing and evolving, and we're having to adapt with it. So again, if there's something that you or your child needs or wonders about, please don't hesitate to let me know. If there's absolutely anything I can do to clarify or to support you and your child in any way as we continue through this school year. This course is American Literature. It is a college prep course designed to build on the skills that the students have had so far in their learning about English language arts and communication arts, reading, writing, speaking, and listening. But it's also really strategically designed from our department standpoint to prepare them for what is to come. It sounds funny this early in the semester to be talking about the future already, but this is the last class for selecting English where students really didn't have an option. This was the course that if they're in the college prep track, they take typically in the 10th grade year. From here, students have a lot of different options for the English classes that they select. And so a big part of what we're aiming to do in this class is twofold in order to prepare them for those next steps. The first is we really spend a lot of time on foundational English-based skills that should prepare them not just for their English classes as they move forward, but for the variety of other tasks that demand a strong foundation in literacy and the English language arts. And so we really have designed this course as the last place where we know all of our high school students are going to be together getting this similar or same instruction to reinforce skills that they've already, built and mastered over the years, and then to introduce them to things that they're going to continue to have to develop and craft as their education continues. The second part of what we're hoping to do in terms of preparing them for the future is helping them to be ready to make informed decisions about the future courses that they want to take. And so a lot of what we do in here is looking at where are their interests. What are the skills that they feel really strong in that they want to continue to use and build as they move forward? And then also, where are those areas that they still seem to have struggle or challenge so that we can really give them strategies and think about what courses come in the future that help you to continue to grow and improve in those areas. Again, I mentioned earlier, the class is reading and writing intensive. On a typical day, students are reading something and writing every single day, not always formally, but in informal and different in a variety of ways. And they also should be speaking and listening each day. Obviously, with how this year has gone, some of that has been done using technology tools and virtually, but the goal is really that no matter where we're learning or how we're learning, students are connected and they're engaging in discussion and processing their ideas through writing and things like that. So again, there will be a lot of opportunities for them to practice these skills, to try out applying these skills in new forms, and to continue to build their mastery of these different skill areas. This course is organized around theme-based units. Big essential questions that help us to tackle some of the central themes that we've seen over the years emerging from American literature. within our study of these different themes and questions and topics, we'll really be trying to get a solid survey-style overview of different movements and trends that emerged in American literature. So there is a little bit of that historical connection here to help them see these pieces of literature within a larger context. But there's also the hope that as we engage in discussion and writing and reading driven by the questions we're examining together, that students see how literature is just one tool we have to help us better understand and think about and engage in the questions and topics in the world around us. And so students are encouraged to bring in some of their own questions to supplement and text to help us study it, to again encourage them that this kind of learning goes beyond the classroom. Certainly helps you in your other academic classes, but it helps us to think about what are the skills we need to engage in critical thinking and discussion and big picture things like connecting with others and creating our own ideas and getting them out there into the world around us. The other nice thing about having these themed units is it enables us to work on things like comparing and contrasting and seeing things from somebody else's perspective and noticing how those connections are made either from a text to a text or from something I've read and then an idea shared by a classmate or something like that. In addition to texts and readings that I will be selecting for each of our units, and they will come from a variety of sources. Obviously, we'll look at things like novels and plays and different books and short stories. We'll do some poetry study in here. But the students will also be bringing in some of their own interests in many different ways. That will be through some, less conventional or traditional texts. We'll use song lyrics. We'll talk about how, paintings and works of art help us to see literature in new ways as well. And the students, in addition, will be selecting their own independent reading books. They should already all have selected their first one. These books can be fiction or nonfiction. They can use audiobooks. A lot of students shared that they had started trying things like that over the, closures of the school, especially last spring. Or they can be online text. Some of them used apps like Overdrive that our library provides where you get a digital version of the text to read. And so all of those options are fine. The ultimate goal is to read and read things we like and talk about it and continue to make those connections. With that said, at any point in time, you should be able to ask your child a few questions. If you want to see what we're talking about in here or kind of assess, are they connecting to what's going on in the class? Always on a daily basis, you can ask them, what are they reading? They should have an independent reading book going and whatever class text we're examining on that given day. They should hopefully be able to tell you how this connects to some of the big questions that we're talking about. You can also ask them what they're writing. Some days it won't be a formal essay or a, graded assessment, but they may be doing a free write or a creative writing piece or something persuasive or things like that. And then finally, you can ask them, what are we discussing in class, and how do they feel about it? As we examine the unit questions, the one we're talking about right now just deals with the American identity and what does it mean to be American? Why do have people historically and in current times continue to come here to America? And we've started with some of the more, staple documents, reading that nonfiction, things like the Declaration of Independence, but we'll be moving into things like poetry and what different people have said over the years about what kind of place America is and what it means to them. And the students will be writing some of their own responses to that from their own experience. The class is designed to have a balance of structure and flexibility. And the goal of this is obviously that, we all need to know clearly what our expectations are. And so I work hard to make sure that the students know, what are we doing each day? How does this fit into the unit? What gets graded? When do I have to have it turned in? And I know that that's important, but there's also the importance of students having choice and flexibility with their pacing. And so I really see as one of my most important jobs, meeting each student, each child where they're at. So if they're really excelling in a certain aspect of the course, encourage them. I will have options where if they want to pursue that, in order to build more sophistication, my job is to challenge them and keep them moving forward and learning and growing. If your student and your child is struggling with something, that's where we can slow down a little bit. They can retry something. We can look at it from another direction. I can meet with them and work on them more one-on-one. My job then is to support them so they're able to access that learning and apply those skills and really master them. So again, I would encourage you, if you're hearing anything at the home end where they want more support or they want more to challenge them, they can always come to me and ask me about that, and I'd be happy to work with them. The last things I wanted to mention were that this is a Keystone course, so at some point in the spring, they will be scheduled to take the Literature Keystone exam. That's something we will prepare for, and I will share more information about as we get closer to that. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. And the same goes when they start scheduling their classes for next year. If you do have any questions, let me know at any time. And I'd just like to end by saying it's been a pleasure in these first days and weeks getting to know your children. I look forward to an exciting semester, getting to know them even better and seeing all the many things that they are capable of. I know that this has been a very crazy and challenging year, and it may continue to be in many ways. But if there is anything I can do at any time, please let me know. Again, I'm happy to be here and happy to, provide you with anything you might need to help your children to be as successful, as they can be in this year. So thank you very much and have a good evening.